All right, welcome everybody. Today I've got a video on my Colt Pocket Hammerless. This one is chambered in 380. Colt Pocket Hammerless were chambered in both 32 ACP and 380. They came out in 1903, chambered in 32 ACP only, and then they added the 380 chambering in 1908. I did a video a little while back on my 32 ACP version of this, and this one here I've actually had longer. The 380 version is a lot more scarce, hard to come by than the 32. They were both made in large numbers, but the 32 ACP was just so popular. I think they probably made 4 times as many of those as they did the 380. When I ran across this one, although it is in less than stellar condition, I jumped on it. I think I picked it up for about 400 bucks. It is probably, I'm not a firm believer in restoration, but it is probably a candidate for a restoration someday. Might be the only gun I ever have restored. I don't know. But if I did, it would have to be in the original Colt manner and not just a reblue by a whatever. But anyway, everything that was said in the video on the 32 ACP pretty much applies to this 380. You know, these guns are identical. The sights are very small, typical of the era. This one here is missing its front sight. I didn't buy it that way, but after 2 or 3 range trips, it decided to eject that off there. And I did replace it, but it didn't like that one either. So I have bought a second sight for it, and I'm going to take it to a professional and have them install it properly. Maybe I didn't get it staked properly, I'm not sure. This one here has a lot of finish loss and pitting, but it is solid mechanically. There's still some traces of the fine Colt bluing. When you look for them real hard, they're there. But this gun obviously saw some use, or at least was carried a lot, or possibly in a holster a lot, where it gained a lot of this aging, we'll call it. At any rate, it is a 7-shot magazine with one in the chamber. Got the European heel release. Has the original 2-tone Colt mag properly marked on the bottom. I would assume it's original to the gun. The Colt grips, Colt hard rubber grips, are in really good condition. A lot of these get cracked and broken over the years. These are in good shape. Anyway, it's fairly accurate for what it is. I remember when I did take it to the range, I was getting, you know, palm the hand-sized groups at 25 yards with it. It shot a bit high, but it shot fine. Fed everything that I gave it very well. Of course, it was all just full metal jacket stuff, which is what this gun was originally designed to shoot, so that would be expected. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It does have a manual safety on the side, although these are not guns that you want to carry cocked and locked by today's standards. At least the early ones are not considered drop safe. So if you have one of these and decide you want to carry it, you carry it with one in the chamber cocked and locked at your own risk, because there are instances and recorded fatalities of these being dropped and going off. They did at some point in production add an extra sear catch on the hammer. I want to say, I'm not sure, but maybe in the 30s. And they also added a magazine safety later on. But these earlier guns are definitely more for looking at and shooting at the range than they are carrying, even though back in the day, these were carried a lot. And I'm sure they were carried cocked and locked. Other than that, pretty much standard fare. Everything I could say in this video I've probably already said in the one I did on my 32 ACP, the same model gun. We'll go over disassembly real quick. Make sure the gun's unloaded, which we've already done. Magazine's out. Pulling the slide back, you want to watch the arrow. And when the line in front of the arrow reaches the front of the frame, there's a sweet spot in there where this barrel will rotate. See if I can get a better grip on it here. The barrel will rotate clockwise, 180 degrees, which I just did there. And then you can pull the slide off the front of the gun, Watch the recoil spring in the bottom of the frame, because it will kind of want to come out as you're pulling it off. And it's pretty, you know, by today's standards, kind of complicated, but really they're not that bad. The barrel just has a series of lugs on it, and when you turn it, they engage the lugs in the frame, which holds the gun together. So you take the barrel out, you're going to turn it with the lugs on the bottom. Pull the barrel out, and you can clean it. And when you're done, slide it back in with the lugs on the bottom. And whenever the barrel's a little bit in front of the ejection port, you'll line up the lugs. There's lugs on the... There's an opening gap in the top of the frame or slide that those lugs will fit into. You turn it, and the slides on these early guns are serial numbered to the frame, so that's another thing you can tell if your gun's matching. Would not take one of these down past how far I've taken it unless you really know what you're doing. Here's your hammer and a disconnector there. Pretty simple Farrier recoil spring and guide rod. Put it back together. Make sure you're lined up with the frame rails. You're going to gradually slide this back. Make sure the spring lines up with it, the corresponding spot in the slide. Push it all the way back until you reach the line there again. And you're going to turn the barrel back counterclockwise till it stops, and that's it. Pretty simple. Like I said, it doesn't come apart like a Glock. Not as easy as that, but they're not too bad. All of the early hammerless guns are made the same way as far as assembly and disassembly. It does have a slide hold open. The safety hook is on the forward, goes in the forward notch. These guns do not stay open on the last shot, so something else to keep in mind. If you think there's something wrong with yours because it's not staying open on the last shot, it wasn't designed to do so. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. So I plan on getting the sight put back on, and we'll get it to the range and do some shooting with it. I hope you enjoyed the video.